Today, there has really only been one phrase coming from the royal palaces. So, in the words of the late amazing queen, thank goodness Meghan isn't coming. The Princess of Wales is especially delighted because she's not going to have to deal with her horrible sister-in-law at the king's coronation next month. But it wouldn't surprise her one bit if her husband staged another necklace-ripping fight over the dog bowl at Kensington Palace. That is how upset William still is, and the rest of the royal family is too at Harry. And who could really blame the Prince of Wales after Harry's Commonwealth-bashing Netflix reality show, and also that tell-all biography Spare that burned all his bridges? This is a time when the Windsors really need to put on a united front to deal with the death of the greatest ever monarch, and instead they have had to spend the past 7 months putting out fires that were lit by Meghan and Harry on purpose. It is reputation destruction of the highest order, and it also means that Harry and Meghan should really be permanently banished, just like the Nazi sympathizer Duke of Windsor and Wallis Simpson who came before them. Now, personally, I think a long time ago Charles should have ripped up Harry and Meghan's invitation. In fact, by refusing to stick to the RSVP date, the king had the perfect opportunity to do exactly that. But he's still a dedicated father first, I guess, and he has a nearly naive belief that one day Harry is finally going to come around and their relationship can be fixed. I've been watching pretty closely ever since Meghan entered the royal family, so I am sure that hope is misplaced, at least until Harry finds himself single once again. For the time being, though, they are still on this kamikaze mission to destroy the British monarchy, and that is simply never going to change while they are still making so much money by attacking their own flesh and blood. But in the end, I'm sure that Meghan's lack of attendance boils down to, as always, her overinflated ego and her obsession with being idolized, instead of just trying to give the royal family a peaceful, nice week. After dealing with the indignity of being booed while coming to St. Paul's Cathedral, Meghan could not take that risk. I mean, come on. Especially considering that she was thinking about bringing her invisible kids along. And then, of course, we've got Meghan's mouthpiece, that strange guy Omid Scooby-Doo. He showed up within minutes of the official Buckingham Palace statement to suggest the absence has everything to do with Archie's birthday clashing with the coronation date. It seems like that spin is a bunch of nonsense, though. Because if there were any way whatsoever that Meghan could show up at the coronation without being booed, then she would have called up Elton John and she would have begged for his private jet to pick her up from Montecito without a moment's hesitation. After all, the commercial viability of Meghan and Harry does come directly from their closeness to the royal family, and that's an organization they claim to despise. Robert Jobson has his new book too, Our King, and it makes it very clear with the typically understated former monarch's description of Meghan and Harry's behavior is quite mad. And when you really think about it, their behavior is still mad. Why in the world would Harry put himself through the mess that's going to come along with showing up to celebrate the father whom he has publicly attacked for the past 2 years? If he thinks he's going to receive a warm welcome, well, he's wrong about that. Outside of the very forgiving princesses Eugenie and Beatrice, there is simply not a safe haven for Harry any longer in the royal family. Royal family members are basically universal in their condemnation of Harry's behavior over the past few months. And that includes his former friends Zara Phillips and Mike Tyndall, and even Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. She does know a thing or two about being an outsider after all. It just shows how deep resentments run that senior royals don't want to have conversations with Harry alone anymore because they believe the risk is just too great that he's going to leak it to the media. And of course, it would be Harry's version of events. It would not come close to reality. And that's also why, after the funeral for Prince Philip, a grief-stricken Charles and an upset William agreed to a showdown with Harry as a pair. Well, Harry didn't care. He was still talking about details of that most intimate conversation in his awful tabloid tell-all. As a father, Charles is still devastated at how everything has turned out with Harry, and also Meghan too. Let's remember that it was Charles who proudly agreed to walk her down the aisle. Now, it's not clear if Prince Archificial and Princess Invisibet were ever invited to the ceremony itself, but I'm guessing the king might feel a little bit sad that he's not going to have the chance to be with all of his grandchildren. It is the most important day of his life, and the family is going to get together afterwards. I also wonder if in the years to come, even the decades to come, maybe they're going to object to being in California on such an important day, missing out on a great opportunity to participate in royal history and also to celebrate their British heritage. It does seem strange considering Harry and Meghan's desperate desire for their invisible kids to become a prince and princess, considering they claimed it was their birthright. But these contradictions about how Meghan and Harry view their royal roles is no surprise. Today, though, is time to celebrate. Without any doubt whatsoever, Meghan would have done everything in her power to upstage the king during his own coronation. She really is that bad. In fact, William had already privately expressed a worry that Meghan and Harry might be planning some kind of PR stunt to show they were still in touch with the people over the course of the weekend, when the rest of the family have signed up to the idea that the focus has to remain on the new king. Well, now at least that risk is gone. Harry's gonna fly in and out, and you might not even see him. He will look like an empty shell of who he used to be, and he'll probably feel very ashamed about the horrible treatment that he has dished out to his own father over the past 3 years. But I don't think he will be able to make amends in case it upsets that horrible woman who wears the pants in that relationship. And body language experts are going to be watching him very closely. Harry is desperate to come without Meghan. He's going to have it in his ginger brain that he needs to keep the door open to enable him to return to the royal family after they get divorced. Apparently, he has had discussions with his father about how he could possibly get back into the royal family. I'm thinking a divorce announcement could be coming very soon, but I think at least maybe they'll wait until after the coronation. Now, last week, Harry showed up in the UK for a court case, which he didn't even need to be at. And then he's supposed to be in court again as a witness the week after the coronation. So I guess he has to show up? I'm not sure. But I did hear that he is making a round trip for the coronation, and he's not going to be staying for any other celebrations in the following 2 days. Harry is just such a hypocrite. I don't believe that he is coming with his tail between his legs just yet. I'm guessing he's scheming something to make himself look important. I just hope that Charles can take a firm stance and control him, and if he cannot, then I hope that he can give that task to somebody who can, because you know Harry is going to do something to try to ruin his father's party. I mean, the fact is, Harry has not been a member of the royal family for quite a long time. Even if he came back to the UK, which is his legal right, sure, I don't believe that he would be welcomed ever again as a working member of the royal family. I mean, maybe after a long time after he shows that he can act right, but even then, I'm not sure. Charles is also not weak. I think that he has dealt with the vileness of Meghan and Harry in precisely the right way by ignoring them. See, negative attention is better in their opinion than no attention at all. So please, let's give William some time to just enjoy his little family and to learn about his future job before he's going to take over the reins. I understand the Swedes are big fans of abdication, but I think the British royal family is going to avoid that at all costs.